Welcome back everybody to my channel. My name is Mr. Beard. Welcome. And in this video I was just sitting down eating Kartoffelsalat made in Germany. It has the German symbol on it, this thing. I want to thank all the Germans out there for creating this beauty because it's absolutely delicious. I absolutely love this. In this video I came up with 5 ideas for War Thunder to improve not only the graphics but also the gameplay. And I want to make a disclaimer. These are ideas I came up with. They might not ever come. You guys might not like them, and if you don't like them, feel free to dislike the video. I don't take dislikes on these types of videos as a bad thing. I just take them as a way of you guys telling me, no, I did not like these ideas, and it's absolutely okay if you want to dislike the video. And it's a way to tell the War Thunder team that, hey, these guys don't like this video, or a lot of people like this video and we should actually watch it. Please feel free to leave your opinions in the comments about these ideas. They're quite interesting, I guess. Let's dive into them and see what I came up with. Okay, the first idea I came up with are effects around the playable area. I made a video on my channel discussing if War Thunder should add infantry to the game, and a lot of people watched that video and commented on that video. Some liked that idea, some didn't like that idea, and some of them thought I talked about playable infantry and told me to go play enlisted. Well, I'm gonna push a bit on that idea and actually give another idea how infantry or other effects could be added to War Thunder that would not interfere with the gameplay. I have in front of me a new map added to the game called Attica. I think we've played on this map. There's A, B and C over here. It's an interesting map where players can fight and stuff like that. Well, in this area, well, inside this red circle is the playable area where tanks go and fight each other. Outside this playable area are these red dots we can also see in the minimap in the corner of the map when we play a match. And if we enter these areas, basically what we get is a message that says return to the battlefield in like 30 seconds or you die. We all know these areas. It happened to us to stumble upon them and I even died to them. Well, in these areas, I recommend adding effects, which is infantry that walks around, artillery fire, rockets that fly in the sky and explode, anti-air fire, just kinda to give the player the feeling that they're in the middle of combat, in the middle of a war. Around them there's this fire, infantry fighting, artillery explosions, to give people this feeling that, okay, I'm in the middle of this is a war, just to improve the player feeling in the game. There wouldn't be any infantry dying, you wouldn't see any, just infantry running and stuff like that, and just explosions we usually see while playing the game. So this wouldn't affect the player rating at all. It's just effects to kind of give the player a better feel. And to even expand on this idea and make you understand it better and how it would look, I have 2 clips to show you. This is a clip from Company of Heroes 2 Ardennes Assault. It's a trailer. And I want you to focus on this and back here. Imagine this area where this tank is, which is us. Ignore this guy with the machine gun. He pretend it's just the tank, which is us. And this bush is right here, as you see them. This is kind of the map bounds. You can go further than that. They're just, the map ends here. If you pass this, it says return to the battlefield or you die in 30 seconds. Well, this is here. And back there, there's this like 2D or 3D, depends how the devs want to make them, of like infantry running in the back, pretend those are tanks over there, you know, and maybe some explosions in the back, something like this. Look in the back, you see those people over there running, something like that. Well, like we fight over here and in the background over there there's like explosions and stuff, to make the player feel, okay, there's things around me happening, I'm just fighting like a lot of people around me and things like that, just to enhance the player feel of the game. Another clip I have for you is the Valiant Hearts game from years and years ago. Some of you might have played it. I've played it and I've seen YouTubers play it. And like if you watch, like this is the playable area, pretend here are tanks, right? And in the background over there, that's the return to the playable area or you die or something like that. at on the screen. You see that artillery fire over there, like, look, explosions in the background and things happening outside of the map bounds, right, over there, and we actually fight over here. It wouldn't affect us, it's just interesting things that go on. You see in the background over there, explosions, could be tanks in the background, like, just as effects, right, and planes maybe, explosions in the air from artillery fire and stuff. It would be interesting to enhance the player feel and how the player feels in the middle, because look, this is a perfect example in this game. You're in the middle of war, around you, all around, like, imagine back there it wouldn't be anything and down only here explosion, you wouldn't feel like, oh, why are they only targeting me? But back there, you know, because the developers of this game added, look, that explosion and this one and that one, you feel in the middle of combat, and I feel like this would improve the player experience in War Thunder. So yeah, something like this is the first idea I came up with. Let me know what you think down in the comments about it, and let's move to the next one. The second idea I want to talk about has to do with spawn campers, and we all know they're annoying, and when you spawn they just shoot you with your machine guns to see when your protection runs out, and then they just kill you, and it's absolutely annoying to deal with when it happens, and it just ruins the fun when the enemy just runs to your spawn and you can't do anything about it. And the way to deal with this issue, I came up with an idea for it. Well, a feature that's not really used in War Thunder, which I actually found in Enlisted, thankfully I played that game and it's quite fun, is anti-tank guns. These are anti-tank guns. They look like this, and infantry actually just puts them down and they can shoot tanks from a distance to kill them if they don't have another tank around to kill them. And these, in my opinion, could be placed in this area. I kind of plays with the first idea with the effects and the infantry around the playable area. These things could exist around the spawns, right? And whenever an enemy tank enters this area over here, basically the spawn of the enemy or the friendly or whatever, when somebody that's not supposed to be in this area enters this area, they would get a message just like return to the battlefield, but instead of the message that says return to the battlefield when you go in out of bounds map portions, you would get something like we are getting targeted by anti-tank guns, retreat, or something like that. And when enemy tanks enter this area, because this is the area of the enemy, the enemies like have this whole thing for themselves. When our team, or let's say our team, pushes inside, they would get like, we are getting targeted by anti-tank guns, retreat. And if they don't retreat, they would just get shot and killed by these anti-tank guns. Firstly, I thought of just simply we are getting targeted by artillery fire and they just die. Way more accurate artillery fire than us, the tank crew, can order on different points around the map. But I thought these things could actually come useful, and it could be interesting, because these things could just shoot you and just kill you instantly with one shot. It wouldn't be like something like artillery fire that just, you know, explodes everywhere, because sometimes you have like 10 tanks in this area over here, and just to see artillery fire all around the area wouldn't really be very cool to see and witness, and people who don't have a strong PC, it could freeze and it wouldn't be that great. But these things, anti-tank guns, would be outside the player area, maybe some over here, like you could see them, right? They could not be destroyed by enemy tanks, they would be invincible. And if the enemy or the friend, we don't leave this area when the text pops on the screen to leave, these things would just fire one shot at us or two and they would just kill us, and that would be it, and it would force us to respawn. They're also down here, these are our anti-tanks, and these up here are the enemy anti-tanks. They're kind of, as you look at it, they surround, this is our spawn down here, and this the enemy spawn. They surround like the places we spawn at. And yeah, if you enter this area, you're gonna get cooked by the anti-tank guns that are not seeable or not destroyable, and they just fire from a long distance and you just die if you don't leave the area in, let's say, I don't know, 20 seconds. The devs need to come up with a system, because they could actually go in the area and also leave and then go back and leave and go back, you know, for the 20 seconds. The way I would come up with an idea to fix that is just simply, instead of this red line being here where it is, it could be a little further away. So by the time the enemy reaches this point, the 20 seconds are over and we still have a lot of play field to be it. And they couldn't rush back even if they wanted to just do that trick, and they would die anyways. And this is an idea to fix spawn campers, and it's interesting. It wouldn't affect the player experience because it doesn't add anything to the map. It just adds a message: we are getting targeted by anti-gun tanks, retreat. And you'll have to retreat, because else the anti-guns will just shoot you down. It's an interesting idea, simple idea. Let me know what you think about it down in the comments. Okay, moving on to the third idea. This one's quite simple, and it doesn't require any brain power to understand it. We're gonna use the Attica map as an example, and especially the A point. If you look here, usually the enemies usually come through here and sit here at this ridge kinda, and the friendlies come through here and sit here at this ridge kinda, and then they just shoot each other here and they don't let anybody pass, right? Understandable. This is how that ridge looks like. They're up here, we are up here, and they kinda just shoot like this. Boink, boink, boink. A is a very hard thing to conquer. Well, the third idea is basically fog. Boom. This is the fog, and I recommend War Thunder to add fog to the matches. Now, fog will only be available on certain matches. You know how there's matches in War Thunder? Some of them are desert, some of them are forest, some of them are cities. Well, in the Attica map, well, it could be normal without fog, or you could load into the Attica map with the fog enabled on the map. What would this do exactly for the gameplay? How would the gameplay change? Well, the gameplay will change because now, even if you go to the ridge, you won't see anything to the other side, because your field of view, if you're over here, it would be like kind of until here, you know? You'll have this circle around you where you can see, and this is way further away from your field of view, and so you'll actually have to go to A and surround A, and fog will actually change the way players fight on maps, on the same maps. Usually, they just sit here and shoot each other. Well, when fog is enabled, it will take the combat close to the points, because everybody would like to get closer and see the enemies. So people will kind of just go, and here will be the combat. And fog will also make it easier for flankers to just flank around and kill from behind. And this would be very interesting, and it would change the way maps and the gameplay feels like, you know. We have different maps, as I said, cities, fields, whatever. Now, fog applied to them will actually make people fight in close combat, even if it's a big field now. Long range fighting wouldn't be a thing anymore, because you can see that far and you have to get closer. And also, CAS, which is, you know, planes in the sky that want to destroy tanks, he will rely more on friendly information, you know, spotters and where the enemies are, and kind of try to bomb. Planes wouldn't be that effective on fog maps anymore, which would be quite interesting and very interesting to think about, because now these tanks need to go down here and this guy needs to go down here, and the fight will happen here because nobody sees each other from this distance, right? This distance, the fog will just be impossible to look at. Now, I don't want the fog like it is in plane battles. If you ever played plane battles on maps that have the airport at high altitude, this is how it looks like. It's absolutely horrible, and Gaijin, please resolve that issue in plane battles. That fog is absolutely horrible to play in, and it's just disgusting, and I don't want it that intense. That's why I said the field of view of the player, they would see A, but it would kind of be like until here, right? So the enemies will get to A, so both teams kind of need to advance, right? And maps could have like different settings, like it could be full on fog where people need to get very close to each other, could be zero fog where, you know, normal playthrough, or it could be like light fog, which it just maybe you can barely see the enemy on the other side, you know, so it kind of switches up the gameplay a little bit. You don't know what to expect from the next match, so it could be a map you like, but you don't know if it's foggy, full fog, no fog, rainy. You don't know. So that's kind of like the unexpected feel of the player. So it gives the players more new things to experience. Oh, it's foggy, so we have to get closer. Oh, it's that, so we have to stay away. Oh, we can shoot from afar. Oh, we can't shoot from afar. It's quite interesting to think about, and it's just a simple idea for the War Thunder team to add. Well, next to the fourth idea. The fourth idea is kind of like the fog, but more interesting. And this will be applied on desert maps and on snow maps, but not always. It's like the fog. Sometimes it is applied, sometimes it's not. What am I talking about? Well, sandstorms and snowstorms. And it's not like the fog, because the fog would be there on the map constantly. You'd have to maneuver through it constantly. Well, on desert maps or snow maps, there will be sandstorms. We'll talk about the desert maps because it's easier. There will be sandstorms happening at random moments during the match. What does that mean? Because the winds and the strong winds during sand fights, let's say this is a desert map in front of us over here. I know it's Attica, but let's just pretend. I said pretend, guys, come on. Okay, pretend this is sand and two enemies are trying to go to A and fight A, right? Well, let's say the enemies don't let the other side pass and go to A. Everybody's fighting each other. At random points throughout the match, for a minute, this would happen. There would be these winds that carry like a sandstorm that goes, and it basically functions like fog, and the developers, if they do add fog to the game and do the coding right and the visuals right, they can get that code and copy paste it to this, but actually just change the color of it to be like more sandy. So basically the sand will come in and they would cover, and the enemies won't see us anymore, so we can actually push A for that 1 minute. So we have to act very fast to go and conquer A, because the enemies do not have visibility of us anymore, and everybody has to rush A because, you know, you can't shoot from afar anymore. And after a minute or maybe 2 minutes, this will go away, right? Because the winds carry the sand away, and now visibility is again. So everybody now the tanks were up here and up here. After the sand goes away, there would be one here, maybe one here, down here, and everybody's like, oh my god, everything changed. I have to react fast. I have to have reflexes. I have to, maybe you catch a tiger with its side plate, because maybe you flanked around when that 1 minute came and nobody saw anything, right? Or it was very hard to see at a distance. Flankers could do their job. Maybe the sandstorm could save you from a situation. And you could say, well, smoke bombs are a thing. Yeah, well, smoke bombs are very useful at a distance, at a very close range, but smoke bombs are a very close proximity. So if you're this tiger, smoke is just here. Well, the sand or the fog is everywhere around you. Like, you could flank around and nobody would see you, even if the smoke is just here. And it has its benefits. You can throw smoke in the sandstorm, you could throw smoke in the fog, and it would still be a shield from, from this guy, but the guy from your left or right could still see you or not see you, depends if it is a sandstorm or not. And what the sandstorms would do, as I mentioned, it would give people an unpredictability of the situations, because there's matches out there where the enemies just sit on these two ridges and fight the whole match, and eventually somebody kills the other side, and finally the match is over. A very boring match. Just shoot, and it just gets, you just sit on a ridge. It's fun the first like 2 kills, but then again and again, and we just sit here. Well, that sandstorm is like, okay, now it's our chance to do something. Oh my god, now it's our chance to flank. Now it kind of gives you an adrenaline. I have to do something. I have to go there. I have a minute to like do something. And it would be, because that's what I want to bring to War Thunder. These things that are very unpredictable and very change up the things a little bit. Natural phenomenons that tank crews around the world need to take into consideration. And I didn't mention this during the fog idea, but it could work during the fog and sandstorm idea. World War II tanks, they would not see through the fog, but modern tanks have the thermal views and they could actually see through the fog. They could actually see better through the sandstorm. And it's another reason for people to push and unlock better tanks, to unlock the thermal view, so they see the enemy tanks through the fog easier and through sandstorms easier. And it could actually also make you feel like, okay, I unlocked better tanks and now I have this and I feel stronger. I don't care about fog anymore because I have this now. And it would be very interesting to just see yourself progress and get better gear like the modern tanks have. Like, they don't care about fog anymore because they just use special gear to look through the fog. But World War II tanks, well, they're gonna have to rush at A when sandstorms happen or there's a fog or whatever, right? And it would be quite interesting. Or this could be applied to snowstorms as well, like wind of snow. They don't happen that often. I think in sandstorms are more often than snowstorms, but hey, if the developers want to add them, who am I to say no? Okay, let's move on to the final idea. Okay, the third idea, while I don't know how realistic it is in real life, I kind of got interested to see if during the World Wars, enemies or allies tried to transmit fake messages towards the enemies to kind of trick them or whatever. I know there were artillery things that kind of imitated infantry pushing and whatever to just confuse the enemy. There were times when I think German soldiers infiltrated an ally base and they gave them false information to just ambush that spot or ambush there, and they kind of was a trap and stuff. So basically this idea revolves around this, that to transmit fake information to the enemies. And it will work something like this. You know how light tanks can spot tanks? Well, let's say there would be, I don't know if you give this power to light tanks or to heavy tanks or whatever. This is up to debate. But let's say you're a light tank next to C over here. And there's enemies here and here, right? And you can't really push C because they'll see you. Well, let's say there's an ability to call base and tell them to transmit fake information towards the enemy. And just like you press a button and you pop down an artillery, the map opens up and say, I want artillery strike here. And there's this icon popping up in red. Well, let's say you open the map and just say, look, tell the enemy there's an enemy here, and they will have to look over here. And this could actually come to your advantage because it's fake information. This will appear for like a few seconds just for the enemy to just be like, oh, wait a second, there's somebody there, we can't push C because that guy will just see us and kill us. And it will kind of hesitate to them to push, which is actually just fake information. This guy does not exist. You as the light tank or heavy tank, it depends who gets this power, kind of told the base at home to kind of, you know, transmit fake info to the enemies that there's a tank here. This thing will eventually just, you know, like fade away. And it was nothing there, but the enemies don't know that. The enemies, like, they might look there and realize, okay, maybe it's a trick, maybe it's not a trick, maybe it's behind the hill, maybe somebody's there, maybe there's nobody there. And they kind of have to either risk it and go to sea and kill you, or they have to sit there, or they have to, like, hide behind the houses on this side, where other friendlies from this side can shoot them. When in reality they had no reason to go behind this house because there was no enemy down here after all, and they could just have sit in here. But it gives that level of panic to the enemy or to you as friendlies, because the enemies can do it to you too. And it gives that feeling of panic, right? Feeling of, oh my god, there might be an enemy there. I can't rush there because he's in a bush, he's somewhere. And you know, as I said, again, let's say the enemy's up here. Let's say I see him, right? Like I get the fake info. Well, now I can just go like this to the enemy because this guy will just shoot at me from here. But this guy is faked. He does not exist, but I don't know that. So I kind of hesitate to push as aggressively as I pushed or as I wanted to push. And I don't know how valid this information is. I don't know how realistic it is. It might have happened. Again, I read that there were fake information transmitted to the enemy during the World Wars, and probably even to this day there's spies and whatever who transmit fake information to tanks to battalions to whatever. But hey, I don't know how well this would work. It's an interesting gameplay idea to just tell the enemy fake things to just like scare them for a little bit, you know, like to hesitate, and that hesitation for like I don't know 20 seconds could save you the match, could win you the match, and it's an interesting idea to think about. It's, you know, again, it's up to debate if this could be realistic or not. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. I want to hear your thoughts in the comments about it. But yeah, it's definitely quite interesting. Well, these were my ideas, 5 ideas I personally think could be fun to see in War Thunder. Now again, I am one person and what I like might be just bad. This idea might be just the horrible ideas ever. That's why I want to share them out there, put them on YouTube and see what people think about them. You guys are free to take this and, you know, like discuss them, change them, maybe do this with them, maybe like expand on them, or just leave them in the trash. I don't know. You're free to do whatever. I just want the game to be better and feel better and improve and whatever. Well, thank you very much guys for watching. It was me, Mr. Beard, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya, boys.